Get my meds ready as well, guys. This is my Topamax. I'm gonna take it after I eat. We got Topamax. We got my duloxetine. We got my gabapentin. Some other stuff as well. So this gabapentin's too big to swallow, so I break it in half. GABA, but I call it GABA. So then I also have, let's see, hydroxyzine that helps my itch and my anxiety. Iron, and then duloxetine. The most two important. I have an orange pill that help me take a dump. Then, then I got iron, yeho. Trust me, I take a lot of pills at once. So that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everyone. I'm at 962 subscribers. How you doing, Anna? Please no spamming. Thank you. About to eat the sandwich. Look, size of my head, bigger than my head. Do you want to guess what type of sandwiches it is? Thank you for subscribing. I'm gonna give you a minute to guess, to write down what you think it is. Yeah, I don't want to guess what it is, or I'm telling you right now what it is. It's a tuna sandwich. Tuna sandwich on a hero, yes. I love tuna sandwiches. They're the best. Let me open it. They didn't put the pickle in it like an idiot. That's right, though. I love pickles. Do you guys like pickles or no? Mm-mm. Mm. Here. Mm-mm-mm. This. What's up, Mr. Mike? How you doing, Mr. Mike? Please like and subscribe. That's good. Thank you. In my drink, I have a peach flavor zero snackle. I also have a bottle of Dasani water. How's your evening go? How's your evening going? How's everybody's evening going? Mine's doing all right. It's kind of cold because it's New York City, so. I love tuna. You cannot have that often because it has mercury. It can make you sick. Otherwise, you can have it. You can have it 3 times a week. You can have it like Mondays, Wednesdays, and like Friday or Saturday. Yeah, you can't have it every day. You shouldn't have it every day, anyways. And too much of anything is still good for you, anyways. So, hi, Doctor Eve. How you doing? How's your evening? Huh? How's work going? Why are you getting home? Oh, you're in California, so you're 3 hours behind. Why are you getting home almost at 10? Wow, it's kind of late. Yeah, 10 p.m. is kind of late. Almost 10 p.m. Wow. Wow. That sucks. Was there an accident or something? That sucks. So you don't even have it. Are you gonna cook? Because you just got home. You're probably exhausted from driving. Yeah, I don't blame you if you do DoorDash or Uber Eats. Who can blame you? And when you go, what time you go back to work? Probably super early. Oh, you have another one tomorrow too. Oh boy. Oh, so you have two jobs. Wow. That sucks when you have to work two jobs. It sucks. Everything's so expensive when you have to work two jobs. People shouldn't have to work two jobs, but they do because everything's so expensive. And that's sad. It's sad to survive that people have to work two jobs. Oh, well, I know you like to work, but you need to rest as well. Oh, that sucks. Did they fall? Oh, that sucks. That sucks. And the vet is expensive. No, am I right? But vet is very expensive. It could be more expensive than a human. Oh, about the same. Wow. Let's see what's going on with baseball. They put this video up 2 days ago.
Here's Brody Brazil. So now that we're officially in 2026 and the calendar year where Major League Baseball's CBA does expire in December with the Players Association, you knew we would eventually get to this. Things starting, the back and forth, the prelude, the ground being laid for a conversation, a negotiation, and what some might ultimately call a fight between baseball and its commissioner, Rob Manfred, and Tony Clark, who is head of the Baseball Players Association. Will all of this lead to a lockout for 2027? Some games being missed, all games being missed? That remains to be seen, but the commissioner did go first here in kind of saying the first comments. He did a radio appearance a few days ago on WFAN in New York. I will give you what the commissioner said in just a second and kind of his initial place to start here. But first, the background and the context that you need. The salary cap has obviously been the issue at play here, the backbone of what's going on here, the conversation, the considerations. This has been an issue all the way back to 1994 when the players went on a mid-season strike. It canceled the rest of the season. It canceled the World Series. It went on for 232 days. Again, that was a player-initiated strike, not an owner-initiated lockout. But even the last CBA resulted in a lockout that was back into March of 2022. It technically started in December of 2021, and they barely got things figured out for the last CBA. They barely got a season underway. They condensed spring training to be about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they just started games, and they started late. They finished a little bit later. They figured it out, but they barely got in 162 last time. This time around, through all my sources and connections inside baseball, and I'm not going to name names, but the people I have talked to off the record are having uneasy feelings about how far apart these two sides are and their lack of ability to see each other's point of views. And really, it's not even just players versus owners or owners versus players. In a lot of these cases, it seems like owners versus owners. I'll explain more on that note in just a second. But all of this, again, is the prelude to the official negotiations, like when they really come together at the table. That's not expected to happen until the season starts, this season, 2026, either in April or May. So again, all of this is the setup for what eventually will be this back and forth. So going back to Commissioner Manfred's appearance on The Carton Show on WFAN radio, here was generally the summarization of the question. I'm not going to go word for word on the question, but I will go word for word on the commissioner's response. Basically, the question was, is a salary cap a deal breaker for Major League Baseball Players Association? That's what we've heard. The players will never accept a hard salary cap. Here was the commissioner's response. That's a Tony Clark question. I mean, it really is. Until I got elected commissioner, all I did was labor relations. That was his previous career. That's how I made my living. I've never been in a negotiation where, before the first piece of paper went across the table, like the very first kickoff of the conversation, I, or anyone I represented, was out there saying, this we will absolutely not talk about, like a salary cap. I just think it's a hard way to begin a negotiation. And so that's obvious, but that's also the main thing at play here. Like, that is where the line in the sand is going to be drawn, at the salary cap. Now, there's also going to be revenue sharing. They're going to have the hard conversation about the failure and collapse of the regional sports network model and what baseball is going to do with its own media rights and how they're going to monetize those rights and who they're going to give that money to once they ultimately collect it. And what if that money is not the same as it used to be? There's a lot of things, obvious things on the table, but the players are obviously coming to the table with a pretty hardline stance. The players are going to say they've been here before. They've been pushed on this issue before. They bent, but they didn't break before on a hard salary cap, and that's not something they're interested in doing this time around either. I actually like the fact that they're going straight to the main points here. Again, there are those other points, media rights, revenue sharing, all that stuff, but this is obviously a main issue. So Manfred says this on WFAN radio, and the Baseball Players Association does have a response that they gave to The Athletic, saying this, quote, players and fans want a full season of competitive baseball. The league and owners say they want to avoid missing games, but at the same time, they appear to be dead set on trying to force players into a system that, the last time they proposed it, led to the most missed games ever in a canceled World Series. That was 94 into the calendar 1995 year. So again, we're kind of speaking in two different directions here, saying the same things but different things, but this is the Players Association response, right? It's all about the salary cap. That's something they're taking a very hard line on. Maybe the other things they're willing to budge on, but this is their hard line entering the conversation. So going back to the interview and questions and responses, and the question was kind of laid out like this: with everything going on and with time ticking down, can a work stoppage be avoided? Here was the commissioner's response. Quote, I do think there has been a rush to negativity by a lot of the media that cover this sport. Let me just stop right there. I think it's because the media are seeing how serious this issue is and how one side wants something, the other side doesn't want something, how far apart the two sides are, and how time, even an unlimited amount of time, is not going to necessarily change their perspectives, is not going to get these two sides aligned. So again, I don't want to blame media in this case for blowing this up, because I don't even think this story has reached its full near potential of coverage. I don't even think a lot of people are talking about this to the level they will be by December if this lockout actually goes official. But I digress. We haven't even started the process. Candid conversations about things that need to be addressed. I think we have to wait and see how things unfold at the table. We've got lots and lots of time to work on it, which is true. There's all this calendar year of 2026, and then you'll get to December, and on December 2nd, either you've reached a new CBA and it kicks in, or the last one, the current one, expires and there's officially, a lockout. Now, even in December, you have all of that month. You've basically got all of January 2027. Spring training wouldn't start until February of 2027. So there are some buffer months, there is some buffer time, but you've also had the prior year to be working on this and maybe trying to avoid this. This is a train we can see coming down the tracks. I do agree. Yeah. The train is pretty far away right now, but it's gaining momentum, it's gaining speed, and it's coming right at us. Yeah. And unless something drastic changes, like it has enough room to stop and figure this thing out, it's going to be coming directly at us sooner than later. Another question was asked of the commissioner. Is there any way, knowing the problem with baseball and spending, and this is the reason why owners want hard salary caps to control what teams spend on the top end, but maybe to make the teams who are not big spenders, the low spenders, can you incentivize those low spenders? If you're going to limit the top, can you actually make the low spending teams spend more so that gap, that competitive balance gets better and that gap gets smaller? Here's the commissioner's response. Quote, the question of incentivization is a really important one. Glad he says that. I totally agree. 3 other sports, football, basketball, hockey, have dealt with it by having a rule. You got to spend. That's the salary floor, not the salary cap. That is precisely the salary floor. Everybody talks about the cap piece, as in the hard cap at the top. The cap piece comes with another piece where you have to spend. That would be the floor. And I think mandating a certain level of commitment in terms of spending in the right kind of economic system can be a good thing. Whoa. Let me just step back and not put words in the commissioner's mouth, but did he just say here that a salary floor is something that owners would be agreeable to across the board? Because again, they want the cap that controls the high amount of spending, but would all the owners really be on board with a salary floor? That would force more teams to spend a lot more. Is that balance achievable? A lot of fans say, and they don't have necessarily the same stake in this, but they're looking at it saying, well, a cap should only come with the floor. You would expect that owners might pitch a cap